Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me for Roofing Contractors Best of Success podcast show, and welcome to Legal Insights. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me for If Walls Could Talk. I'm Jill Bloom, Group Publisher of Roofing Contractor, Walls and Ceilings, and Building Enclosure, and always honored to welcome our legal expert, Trent Cotney, partner with Adams and Reese. Trent, thank you so much for joining me.
Jill, it's great to be here again.
Well, there's always lots to talk about, and there's two things I wanted to focus on today that I think that are very important. First, let's talk about warranties. It sounds like there's some issues with contractors and transferability of their warranties. What does everybody need to know?
Yeah, so if you're a contractor or a trade out there and you're giving a workmanship warranty, I'm not talking necessarily about manufacturer warranties, but if you have a workmanship warranty, you want to have a separate document that kind of goes through what you're providing and what you're not providing. It talks about certain limitations, and obviously you got to do regular maintenance and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that we've had pop up here recently is whether or not you want your warranty to be transferable, meaning that let's say you're doing work regardless of whether it's commercial or residential, you could track directly with the owner. The owner sells the property. Okay, do you want to extend that warranty to the new owner? And some contractors say, no, it's non-transferable. Others say, well, it's transferable, but I have to be able to inspect it and I'll do it for a fee. Regardless of what it is you want to do, you need to make sure that you spell it out in the warranty, because if you don't say anything in the warranty at all, it might be assumed that it is transferable, okay, without a fee. So what I recommend is at a minimum, make sure that you get an opportunity to inspect it before you decide to re-own that warranty. Remember, a warranty is an ongoing liability. It may not look that way, but if you're thinking about it, there is potential liability there until that warranty expires. So I don't recommend transferring it unless you get some kind of payment. Now, that being said, Jill, there are some states that have statutes that specifically talk about transferability. If you're doing condo work, you may have certain issues there. But generally speaking, make sure you thought about it and make sure it's in your warranty so that everybody knows what it is.
Very good insight. And the second thing I wanted to focus on is some of the most recent OSHA defense you've done lately. That sounds very interesting, and everybody should listen to this for sure.
Yeah, so we do a lot of OSHA defense, for construction nationwide, regardless of whether it's federal or state plan. And the most common, most used defense is what's known as unpreventable employee misconduct. And what that means simplistically is you've trained the employee, you've told the employee to do everything right, and they just didn't do it. Okay. And as a result, it's not your fault. That's the gist of the defense. Now, to prove this defense, Jill, you've got to be able to show a handful of things. You got to show you got a great safety manual, that you're adequately conveying the rules, through ongoing training and toolbox talks, that you're looking for problems through audits. But a fourth component is you've got a great disciplinary procedure in place, okay, and it's consistently applied. This is the one that screws a lot of contractors up, because our listeners may have a fantastic safety manual, maybe 4-color spiral bound sitting on a shelf somewhere, but have you really looked at your disciplinary policy and gone to enforce it? Most of them will say, maybe an oral warning, a written warning, suspension, termination, or you can accelerate depending on gravity. But if you end up in a situation where, let's say, you are not disciplining someone, because great example, Jill, is let's say they're your best foreman or best crew leader or most productive team member. Are you really going to fire them if there's a safety problem? Okay, we all know the biggest problem in construction right now is lack of skilled labor. So what happens is OSHA will go in, they will ask for your last 3 years of disciplinary history. If they see that you're not consistently applying discipline, then you lose that main defense, employee misconduct. You lose it immediately. So what I'm recommending to contractors is make sure you take a look at that disciplinary policy and make sure that you can apply it equally to all of your employees. Remember, Jill, and I say this a lot when I'm talking about any employee things, when you get in trouble with employees, it's when you have disparate treatment, right? If you're treating Peter, then you're different than Paul. that gets you in trouble. Same holds true for OSHA. So take a look at your disciplinary policy, make sure that you enforce it consistently.
So if you have an employee that really doesn't need disciplinary, I mean, is there a certain, when you're looking at this and you're litigating this and you're looking at through that policy, is there a certain consistent method of that everyone should get some sort of disciplinary conduct
Yeah, so
in their file from time to time?
right. You only discipline someone if there's a safety violation. So those audits that I talked about, those often reveal if there's problems. So if I go out to a job site and let's say, there's 4 guys on a roof without fall protection, or the scaffolding isn't erected correctly, then I need to do a couple of things. One is I need to follow my policy, write them up, or do whatever my policy says. And the second thing, Jill, is you got to retrain. So I'm a big believer in self-serving documentation. You got to have a document that says, retraining on proper scaffold erection, and have the employee sign off on it. Okay, so it's not just about, punishment, it's about retraining. And it also doesn't hurt to give an attaboy every once in a while. If you've got a crew that's been really safe, recognize them, treat them to lunch, don't get into paying them more because that's a problem. But obviously it doesn't, it doesn't hurt to make sure that you're doing everything you can to have that outward image and and make sure you're acknowledging the importance of having a culture of safety.
Very good advice. Thank you so much, Trent. And if anybody has any questions for you, how do they get a hold of you?
Sure. Anytime they can email me, trent.cotney@arlaw.com.
Sounds great. And if anybody has any questions for us, it's roofingcontractor.com, wconline.com, or buildingenclosureonline.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for all our free content so you can stay up to date with all the great interviews with people like Trent. And most importantly, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks again, Trent.
Thank you.